You think you're buying safe, reliable cars, but some of the UK's most trusted models are nothing more than ticking time bombs. They look dependable, but under the bonnet, they're disasters waiting to happen. And trust me, the one at number 1 will shock every single driver in Britain. If you're new here, we dig into the cars that manufacturers, dealers, and sometimes even mechanics won't warn you about. Today, we're exposing 9 cars that have a reputation for reliability, but are actually nightmares once you own them. These are models thousands of UK drivers thought were a safe bet, only to find out the hard way. They break down early, repairs cost a fortune, and resale value collapses. Let's dive in. Number 9. DS7 Crossback. At first glance, the DS7 Crossback looks like a smart buy. Sleek French design, plenty of gadgets, and on the used market you'll often find one for half the price of a German rival. Many UK drivers thought, why pay £40,000 for an Audi Q5 when I can have a DS for £18,000? But here's the trap. Under the bonnet sits the 1.6 PureTech engine, one of the most fragile power plants sold in Britain. The timing belt doesn't sit dry like in most cars. It runs in oil. Sounds clever, right? In reality, it disintegrates. Tiny bits of rubber start floating around the engine, clogging the oil pump, starving it of lubrication. And before you know it, the engine is finished. And when that happens, you're not talking about a simple service bill. You're staring at £3,000 to £5,000 repairs, often more than the car is even worth by then. Add to that failed turbos, glitchy electrics, and infotainment screens that love to freeze, and suddenly the French premium experience feels more like a roadside breakdown waiting to happen. Then there's depreciation. A DS7 that was £35,000 new just a few years ago now struggles to fetch £15,000. Bargain? Number. It's simply previous owners getting rid before the big bills land. The DS7. Crossback is the perfect example of a car that looks reliable, modern, stylish, premium, but underneath it's a money pit that bleeds owners dry. And if you think French luxury is risky, just wait until you see what happens with an Italian saloon that promises style and low running costs, but leaves UK buyers facing engine failures before they've even hit motorway mileage. Number 8. Fiat Tipo. On paper, the Fiat Tipo looks like the sensible choice. Affordable, practical, and with that 1.6 multi-jet diesel engine, it was marketed as the dependable workhorse for families and commuters across the UK. Many buyers thought, it's Italian, but it's got a solid diesel. What could go wrong? Plenty. The multi-jet suffers from a cocktail of issues: clogged EGR valves, failing DPF filters, injectors that misfire, and turbos that give up long before they should. These aren't minor hiccups. You're looking at bills from £1,200 for a DPF replacement to £2,500 plus if the turbo lets go. And once you're on the hook for one, the others usually aren't far behind. Electronics are another headache. From dodgy sensors to dashboard glitches, many owners report chasing fault after fault with no end in sight. The Tipo might seem cheap to buy, but once these problems pile up, the costs snowball fast. Depreciation makes things worse. A car that was once pitched as a value-packed alternative to a Golf or Focus can sink to under £5,000 within a few years. And dealers know why. Most don't even want them on the lot. The Fiat Tipo is the definition of a car that looks reliable, cheap to run, sensible diesel, but in practice, it's a trap that quietly empties your bank account. Next up, we're heading east, to a Japanese brand famous for bulletproof engineering. But one of their diesels turned out to be anything but reliable, and thousands of UK drivers learned that the hard way. Number 7. Suzuki Vitara. The Suzuki Vitara has always had a reputation in Britain as the tough little SUV that just keeps going. Farmers love the old ones, families like the newer ones, and with the 1.4 booster jet turbo petrol, it was marketed as the perfect mix of reliability and efficiency. On the surface, it looked like a safe, no-nonsense buy. But the reality? The booster jet has been a nightmare for many owners. The engine is known for turbocharger failures, weak fuel pumps, and oil consumption issues that creep in far earlier than expected. One moment you think you've bought a frugal, dependable family SUV. Next, you're stuck with a repair bill of £1,500 to £3,000 just to keep the thing running. Add in electrical glitches, gearbox hesitation, and premature clutch wear, and suddenly the safe bet Vitara doesn't look so safe anymore. The real sting is resale value. Many end up dumped on the used market for peanuts, because dealers know once the turbo starts whining, it's only a matter of time before the engine gives up. It's a cruel irony. People buy Suzukis because they're supposed to be simple and reliable. But the 1.4 booster jet proves that even a brand built on dependability can produce a ticking time bomb. And the next car proves this even more brutally. It comes from South Korea, a country known for long warranties and strong reliability scores. But under the bonnet, it hides one of the most fragile engines ever sold in Britain. Number 6. Hyundai Tucson. Hyundai has built a solid reputation in the UK. 7-year warranties, smart design, and the image of Korean reliability have made models like the Tucson bestsellers. For many families, buying one felt like the safe, sensible choice. But the 1.6 GDI and 1.6 TGDI engines tell a very different story. Owners across Britain complain of high oil consumption, timing chain rattle, and rough idle, problems that can lead to major engine damage long before the magic 100,000-mile mark. On paper, they're efficient and modern. In practice, they're fragile and expensive to put right. Then there's the driving experience. The 1.6 seconds are underpowered for the size of the car, often struggling on motorways or when towing. The result? Strained engines that wear out faster. Repairs aren't cheap either. Timing chain and oil-related issues can easily hit £2,000 to £4,000, wiping out any sense of low-cost motoring. Resale value takes the hit too. A Tucson that cost over £25,000 new can plummet to under £10,000 within a few years, especially if it's one of the 1.6s. Buyers know the risks, and many walk away the moment they hear chain rattle. The Tucson looks like the safe, reliable family SUV, but in reality, those 1.6 engines turn it into a car that eats money as fast as it eats fuel. And while Hyundai struggles with its engines, its sister brand Kia had its own disaster hiding under the bonnet. The next SUV is one of the most common sights on UK roads, but it's left countless owners stranded with failed diesels. Number 5. Kia Sportage. The Kia Sportage has been one of the UK's best-selling SUVs for years. You see them everywhere, from motorways to supermarket car parks, and with that famous 7-year warranty, many buyers assumed they were buying peace of mind. After all, Kia built its reputation on reliability. But under the bonnet of the 1.7 CRD hides a string of problems that prove otherwise. These diesels are notorious for DPF blockages, EGR valve failures, and turbo issues that strike far earlier than expected. Many UK owners report warning lights flashing just months after buying, followed by limp mode drives back to the dealer. Outside warranty, the costs are eye-watering. A DPF replacement alone can cost £1,200 to £1,800. Throw in a failed turbo or clogged EGR system, and you're suddenly staring at bills that rival a German premium SUV. Add electrical niggles and clutch wear on manuals, and that cheap-to-run family SUV doesn't look so affordable anymore. Depreciation adds insult to injury. The 1.7 Sportage might be one of the most common used cars on UK forecourts, but prices drop hard once the warranty ends, because everyone knows the repair risks. The Sportage 1.7 CRDI looks like the reliable, everyday SUV. But for too many drivers, it's turned into a frustrating, costly headache. But the real shock comes with the next car. It wears a Japanese badge that screams reliability, yet its diesel engines became some of the most complained about in the UK. Number 4. Mazda 6. Mazda has a reputation for building cars that last forever. Solid engineering, great driving feel, and the promise of Japanese reliability. That's why so many UK buyers thought the Mazda 6, with its 2.2 Skyactiv D diesel, was a smart alternative to the Mondeo or Passat. On paper, it was supposed to be the dependable family saloon. But this engine has become infamous for one thing: oil dilution. Fuel leaks past the piston rings during regeneration cycles, mixing with the engine oil and raising the level in the sump. Sounds minor. It isn't. Thinned out oil means poor lubrication, faster wear, and catastrophic failures if left unchecked. Owners report everything from blown turbos to complete engine seizures, sometimes before hitting 70,000 miles. And fixing it isn't cheap. Repairs can run £3,000 to £5,000, often wiping out the car's resale value instantly. Add to that common DPF and injector issues, and the Skyactiv D quickly turns from a clever bit of engineering into a money pit. Depreciation has been merciless. A car that cost over £25,000 new can be found for under £7,000 today, and many are sold on by owners desperate to escape the risk before the big bills land. The Mazda 6 2.2 Skyactiv D is the perfect example of a car that looks bulletproof but ends up draining wallets instead of delivering Japanese dependability. And speaking of false promises, the next car wears a German badge trusted by millions across Britain, yet its engines are plagued with issues that have left even loyal drivers furious. Number 3. Skoda Octavia. The Skoda Octavia has long been seen as Britain's sensible family car. Taxi drivers trusted them, fleets bought them in bulk, and with VW engineering, it carried the badge of German reliability at a lower price. On paper, the 1.6 TDI looked like the ideal workhorse, but reality told a different story. The engine is plagued by EGR failures, clogged DPFS, injector issues, and weak durability overall. Many taxi drivers who expected 200,000 miles face major failures at half that mileage. The costs are steep. A new DPF can run £1,200 to £1,800, injectors cost hundreds, and repeat EGR problems trap owners in constant garage visits. Add clutch and flywheel wear, and suddenly the affordable Octavia becomes anything but affordable. Resale value reflects it. High mileage Octavias are now treated with caution, and dealers often avoid them without spotless history. The 1.6 TDI looked like the safe man's choice, but for too many UK drivers, it became an expensive gamble. Next, a German hatchback that promised sporty fun, but instead left owners with engines that judder and stall. Number 2. Seat Leon. The Seat Leon has always been the sporty cousin in the VW family, stylish, sharp to drive, and with the 1.5 TSI Evo engine, it looked like a clever, reliable alternative to a Golf. But owners quickly found problems. The 1.5 TSI Evo is infamous for kangarooing, a jerky, stalling sensation at low revs. Pulling away from roundabouts or traffic lights becomes unpredictable and, for some drivers, downright dangerous. VW pushed software updates, but many reported no real fix. Beyond that, these engines suffer from timing chain wear and injector faults. Repairs often land in the £1,500 to £3,000 range, wiping out any savings. Depreciation is just as painful. Once seen as a safe, affordable hatchback, the 1.5 Evo now struggles to hold value because savvy buyers avoid it. The Leon 1.5 TS. Evo looked like the reliable, fun choice, but for thousands of UK drivers, it's turned into a costly disappointment. Up next, the car sold as Britain's future of motoring, but one that's stranded more owners than almost anything else on the road. Number 1. Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. When the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV launched, it was sold as the future of motoring. A family SUV with hybrid tech, low running costs, and government incentives, it became one of the UK's best-selling plug-ins almost overnight. On paper, it looked like the ultimate safe bet, but reality has been very different. The Outlander PHEV suffers from battery degradation and charging faults. Many owners saw range collapse from 30 miles to under 15 in just a few years. A replacement battery? £6,000 to £8,000, often more than the car's value. And the petrol side isn't bulletproof either. Rough running, oil dilution, and CVT gearbox failures leave drivers stranded. Add constant warning lights and charging ports that stop working, and suddenly your cheap-to-run hybrid costs more than a diesel SUV. Depreciation is brutal. Once over £35,000 new, many now sell for under £10,000 because owners can't face the bills. The Outlander PHEV looked reliable and economical. In truth, it's a money pit that's left thousands of UK drivers full of regret. And that's why it sits at the top of this list, the car that proves better than anyone else that what looks reliable can break you faster than you ever imagined. So, there you have it. 9 cars that look reliable, but end up draining wallets all over Britain. Have you owned one of these? Or do you know someone who has? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. If this saved you from a costly mistake, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more straight-talking car advice. And share this with a mate who's car shopping. You might just save them thousands.